Melbourne is a much-loved, highly sought-after city. It held the most livable title for 7 years in a row, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit Global Livability Index. It's a city in which many people from around the world choose to build their lives and families, and one that's rich in landscapes and nature. And like many others, it's the city that I choose to call home. But like many parts of the world, Melbourne is becoming victim to unsustainable lifestyles, with the increasing amount of plastic, chemicals, and waste tied up in these everyday single-use products. Approximately 100 billion period products are thrown away around the world each year, most of which contain plastic and cannot be recycled. Much of this waste ends up in landfills.
Wyndham experienced the fastest and largest population growth in Victoria, and the second fastest and largest in Australia. Wyndham's landfill takes about 40,000 tonnes of waste annually. It's not viable to keep increasing the size of the landfill to meet the growing waste. A much better solution is to reduce our waste.
In Melbourne, 4.2% of the population identify as Muslim, and if we all do our part, we can change our habits for the betterment of the planet, therefore leading a lifestyle that aligns with our responsibility to the land. I understand that in order to make better choices for ourselves, we need to be empowered with knowledge and awareness. Sometimes the hardest part about switching to reusable products is the stigma with asking questions or the discomfort of trying something new. I know that there are many options available in the market which are reusable and great alternatives to disposable period care products. I'm on an exploratory journey to find small ways in which I can make a difference that will actively contribute to looking after the planet, and one that I know other Muslim women can also play a role in through a shift in how we use sanitary products. So let's find out with an expert.
So I've got some reusable menstrual products here that I wanted to show you, because a lot of people don't know that they're out there or what's available, maybe don't use them yet. So let's have a look at them. I guess there's two types of menstrual products that are reusable. There's some things that will collect and things that will absorb your flow. So let's have a look first at the things that will absorb your flow. Reusable cloth pads. So these pads are designed to sit inside any normal underwear that you are wearing.
As you can see with cloth pads, they come in different sizes, and also you can get different fabrics and that kind of thing to make it a little bit more fun, I guess. And they could be cotton, they could be flannelette, they could be a binky fabric on the top layer of the pad, and then underneath that layer of fabric will be a couple of layers of absorbent fabric, which will be what sort of collects and absorbs the period blood, and then the bottom layer basically will have some sort of waterproof usually, so just to stop any leaks. And they have usually some press studs on the sides that you can use to clip around your underwear. So whatever underwear you're wearing, just regular underwear you're wearing, they will clip to, and that will hold them in place while you're wearing the cloth pad. So obviously the really long ones and sort of thicker ones would be for like a heavy flow or an overnight and postpartum as well, like after you've had a baby. And the smaller ones, the liners, are good for sort of the last couple of days, or a really light flow.
So these cloth pads are used in a very, very similar way, just that once you've used it, once you've finished with it, you can remove it, rinse and wash. Then after you've washed the cloth pad, it's ready to be used again for a few days later or your next cycle. No need to do anything special when you're washing them. They just need a really gentle soap or powder, and just to go through a normal wash cycle. Line dry is fine, so you don't need to go to any extra effort to dry them. The cloth pads are also really great to have as a bit of a backup for any other products you might use, like tampons or menstrual cups. They're also really great for maybe the couple of days before you're due and you just want something there just for a little bit of protection, just in case you're caught off guard of when your period does actually come. So the cloth pads are great because if you just need some little bit of backup there, then you can use it and wash it after you've used it. without having to add any extra things to landfill or anything. The period underwear works in a very similar way to cloth pads. They look like, from the outside, they look like just a normal pair of underwear. Sometimes they come in lots of different cool colours.
There are a couple of brands that do sort of, fancy prints or something that's a little bit prettier. But as you can see, the plain fabric on the outside just looks like a normal pair of underwear, but on the inside you can see where the absorbent material is. With both the pads and the period undies, the idea is that once you have used them, once you've used it to collect the blood, then you would rinse and you would wash. This is a normal wash cycle. You don't need to use any special soaps or detergents or anything like that. They're actually better off with just a really gentle wash of gentle soap, natural soap.
You can get them in for different flows. So you can get a light version or a heavy version as well. And depending on what you need it for and depending on your flow, it might last you all day or it might last you half the day. And also they keep you fairly cool, as in they don't make you hot and sweaty, I find. And the other great thing, particularly because they come in a range of sizes and absorbency factors, is that you can have sort of a set that might include some light to moderate pads or liners or underwear, and then you might have a couple that are for really heavy days as well. So over your cycle you might find that you're using sort of the smaller liners or the light to moderate undies in the first, maybe in the lead up until your period starts and the flow gets much heavier. Then you might wear the heavy ones. And then back to the liners at the end. And then, okay, so the product I actually really like to use that has probably been one of the best switches, one of the best reusable switches I've done in this whole lifetime of using reusable products instead of disposable products, is a menstrual cup. And I find that a menstrual cup is very comfortable. Once you have found the way to insert and remove the menstrual cup, it can almost feel like during the day you can even forget that you even have your period, which is a really nice feeling. And so once you have inserted a menstrual cup, you can actually keep the cup in there depending on your flow. I find in the first few days, for me, I tend to empty it twice in the daytime but only once in the nighttime, whereas in the next couple of days I only empty morning and night before I go to bed. So you can spend almost the whole day without having to go into the toilets and hope that you find a cubicle that has a bin for tampons and pads, but you can wear the menstrual cup all day. And it's also really comfortable for if you're exercising, doing sports or dancing or anything like that. And because it's worn inside of you, there's actually a lot of people worry about whether it smells. Actually, the smell comes from when the blood meets air and it begins to oxidize, and that's when you start to have a little bit of a smell. So you don't have to worry about the blood that's being collected inside of you having any smell.
So a menstrual cup is usually made from a medical grade silicone. You can get some with colours and that kind of thing. They will have a dye or something like that in there as well. But for the most part, they will just give you a clear colour, and they'll be a similar sort of shape to this one, where they have a small little tail at the end, and they are a cup, really, essentially a cup that you squeeze into. You can squeeze it into a C or an S sort of shape, and it is inserted then. Once you have inserted that, you gently release, and it will expand to then sort of sit against the vaginal wall, where it will stay and it will catch the blood that is coming. And when you are ready to remove the cup, you'll sort of find the tail and give the bottom just a gentle pinch, just to release sort of the suction against the vaginal wall, so that then you can just squeeze gently and just gently remove. You can use your pelvic floor muscles to help you sort of bend down there to help it come out. Then all you need to do is tip out or empty out the blood. You can just do that into the toilet, and then you can give the cup a bit of a rinse and then reinsert to.
And it's as easy as that really. Usually only sort of once every 12 hours or so, most people find, is when they need to remove and empty and rinse their cup to reinsert. So it's very convenient, especially if you're out all day, if you're going to visit anybody, or if you're spending a day at school or at university, or if you are going on holidays or something. It takes away a lot of that pressure of having to find a toilet or having to find a place where you can change a pad or remove a tampon or something like that. The menstrual cups made from medical grade silicone can be a lot easier on your body parts, and especially because they're designed to collect the blood, not absorb it. They also encourage that natural moisture in your body to remain. They don't absorb any of the natural moisture, so that you don't experience some dryness that you might experience if you were wearing a tampon. The other great thing about these particular reusable menstrual products, like cloth pads and period undies, is that a lot of the time they're just made from fabric, whereas the disposable pads could have chemicals in them. They have fragrances, they have like chlorine or something to bleach them to make the colour look really nice and crisp white. There's also adhesives, and then there's often like a plastic layer to help keep them waterproof. So there's a lot of extra like synthetic things and chemical things that you're wearing very close to your body over the time that you have your period. So the reusable cloth pads and the underwear as well, they sort of help take away some of those extra things that you're wearing very close to your body. It's a little bit better for particularly people with sensitive skin or that kind of thing, or who might be prone to rashes or allergies to any of the chemicals or plastics that are in those products. So they can be a lot more comfortable and a lot easier on your skin as well. So I like to consider these products as a one-time investment. So as opposed to going to the supermarket and stocking up on disposable products every month or every couple of months, once you have purchased a menstrual cup, or once you have purchased a set of cloth pads or period undies, or even a combination of all of those things, that is it then, until you need to replace them for whatever reason. So once you have made that one-off payment, or once you have bought these items, you've had to pay up front for them, but then after that there's not an ongoing cost. There's not an ongoing need to have to go to the supermarket and make sure you've got supplies ready for that time of the month or anything like that. You've got the products there, and also you don't have to then pay for any other disposable products as you go. And it could be a couple of years then that you don't need to purchase any other products for at all. So when you're thinking about switching to reusable menstrual products, it's good to keep in mind that reducing disposable products, whether it's just from one day or whether it's from your whole cycle, any reduction in disposable products, any reduction in what you're sending to landfill is a good thing. So if in the beginning you feel comfortable trying cloth pads or period undies while you're at home, instead of when you're at home and going out, then start off and build up your confidence using the cloth pads and period undies. Get used to what your body is telling you and how your cycle goes. How is your flow? And get used to that in your body, so that then you'll develop the confidence to use the products more. But of course, take your time to find out what works for you. The reusable products, any amount of time you use the reusable products and save a disposable product from going to landfill, is still a really good switch.
So being on this journey to understand more about reusable products has actually been really encouraging for me to try it myself. Prior to this, I had some knowledge about it, like I used to see it on social media, I have some friends who use it, but we never sat down and talked about it. So I think being able to go on that journey yourself to learn has been really useful. What else has been useful is talking about it. So beyond just like seeing the product, is hearing from people like Alicia, who early in this video explained what is happening, makes it a lot more easy to be able to address it and to approach the products. I think the thing that surprised me the most was understanding the environmental damage of the non-reusable products. Obviously, I know that they were made of plastic in terms of the covering, the actual pad itself, and but I didn't realize things like the adhesive, the glue is also bad for the environment and doesn't obviously decompose. And just the fact that we use so many in a day as opposed to the reusable ones, which is much less. So the fact is that, you know, there is less damage to the environment. And I think it is a step in the right direction because 50% of the population are women, and women use those products. So the impact that we can have if we start switching is tremendous. I also think having someone explain to you really helps making an informed decision. I think prior to this there was a lot of fear to even ask the right questions, but being able to have someone openly explain and show you the products means that it eliminates a lot of those fears. And then when you make a decision, or if I was to make a decision about which one I was to use, whether it's insertion or the one that you just put on top of your underwear, it means that you know why you're deciding to do that. So I think this video, this whole journey has been really, really useful. I think the most important thing that I've learned on this journey is that we should talk about it. When we sit with other women, when we sit in women's circles, these are the conversations that we should be having, because we know that the impact is going to outlive us. The impact is about looking after the planet and looking after the environment.